Hi, this is Mike Agron. I'm a co-principal and the executive webinar producer with WebAttract, and we're here with Harry Friedman, the CEO and the founder of the Friedman Group. We're going to have a little discussion on a case study of a very exciting webinar we did together and some fantastic results. So let me welcome Harry. How are you, Harry?
Michael.
Good to have you. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about the Friedman Group, what it is you do, and a little bit about your background, and let's talk about from some of the challenges that we were trying to create to provide a great outcome for you with the webinar, and we'll go from there and talk about some of the results.
Well, the Friedman Group is a retail consulting and training company, and we have offices in 12 different countries around the world. And it's our mission to work with retailers in their operations to increase sales, productivity, streamline operations, and so forth. And we have a sales force that does what sales forces do. But the idea of doing a webinar and actually having more touch points was very intriguing to us. So that's when we got in touch with you guys.
Well, I think it's important to note that as part of your business model, you do training, you do consulting and sales, and you are also an accomplished and well-known public speaker. I know you have a best-selling book on Amazon. So how was it that a webinar seemed to make sense to you? Because it was a completely different medium than what you used to work in. What were some of the reasons that a webinar looked like it would be an attractive vehicle for you to get new clients?
I seem like an old dog, you know, in a new world. And so we have some people on our staff that started to get the idea of webinars as an interesting idea. And then really, I think it was a matter of talking to you and Brett. And that's where it all changed. And the idea that I would give content away, are you kidding me?
You mean to not sell?
Are you kidding me?
Right.
The idea that we would do that and with hundreds and hundreds of people and so forth, it was just a remarkable experience. And I will tell you that we've done several since, as you know.
Right.
It's amazing. The return on investment is crazy. So from our standpoint, learning about what we can do from you guys and the professionalism you showed throughout this process while I was having a heart attack was really quite remarkable.
Well, I think what's important is that as we drill down into what the approach was and what we tried to do, let's give the punchline away right now. As a result of the webinar, what happened? What happened?
Yeah, well, you would zero in that. Well, there happened to have been a very large Fortune 500 company that we would have never talked to in a million years. We would have liked to think that we could talk to them, but at the level that we usually work with retailers is way up there on the org chart, right? VPs of operations, and if you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar organization, it's not so easy to get them on the phone.
Right.
But a lot of their people showed up to this webinar, and the next thing you know, right, well, it was a multi-million-dollar contract. I wanted to thank you again.
Our pleasure. Now, disclaimer, I was going to say, we can't guarantee that everybody who's going to do a webinar is going to walk away with, if I may say so, a $2 million+ deal. But it definitely was a catalyst to get you in touch. And I mean, in all seriousness, really what we look at webinars as a vehicle for, as we talk, is to help you create a conversation with someone who will hear what it is you can offer them, promoting your brand, your thought leadership in a way that they go, you know, I'd like to talk to these people. I think they could help me. That's really what the end game was, and it seemed to be very successful as far as you creating your thought leadership to get into that conversation. So let's talk a little bit about it, because you have something very unique to offer. You train salespeople, you talk to salespeople, you wanted to get in touch with salespeople, but you came to us with an idea and a vision of a way to capture their imagination by talking to them about the importance of culture. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and how we molded that into a message?
Well, you know, first of all, I'd like to say that as a consulting firm ourselves, we often are bothered by the idea that our clients don't take our advice. Right? That's a typical answer. Now, we have a lot of integrity and like to think that we do the right thing by all of our clients. We gave over to you, it wasn't an easy task, right? For us to just give over to you and say, all right, you're the expert. we know what we want to talk about, but you're the expert on critiquing our PowerPoints, our flow, and the details of it. And we knew that we had to come up with something controversial, something different, which you encouraged. We got our PowerPoints exactly right. You gave us our timing and all those, and you rehearsed us ad nauseum, right? But it was right. It was exactly right, and it came off without a hitch, and it was quite spectacular. We talked about culture shock, and from where the Friedman Group comes from, is that nobody needs another boring retail store, and that there needed to be some shake-up to the system in order to have a place in your community. So that's what the webinar was all about. We did it with points, right, in a simple, organized way. It was a kind of a casual kind of a thing. We weren't too preachy, and we gave plenty of content away.
Well, I think what's important in that is that understanding that you wanted to talk about culture shock and the importance of culture, which is different and unique. First thing we had to do is target an audience, and we had to find a demographic that would relate to that content. And that had to go beyond your traditional audience, because you guys have a great list, but you needed to go beyond that. And then we wanted to recruit people that would come and not so much be sold on the Friedman Group as a place that they needed to come to, but why they would want to come to it. In other words, to promote your thought leadership. And I think that the blend of those two and the way you were able to deliver it, and it was provocative, it got the audience engaged, and by the mere fact we had, I think, we had over 500 people register, and there were at least half that much, if not more, that actually attended.
Yeah, over 300.
300.
But there's a couple things that we can't forget. One is the idea that your coaching and help with the webinar itself, which was outstanding. But the work that was done behind the scenes was really quite impressive. How you were able to put together a list that we had no idea how to put together that list. We've tried, believe me.
You mean target the audience, the demographic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you guys knew what you were doing there. And as a result, we had a lot of people in attendance that we normally didn't touch. And so, wow, what's that worth? And I will tell you something that's really interesting to me. That although we're business people who look for a return on investment with any of the dollars that we spend, the idea that we're establishing this thought leadership, right, position, and that many more thousands and thousands of people know we exist. I mean, we used to send out a lot of mail to get that same result.
True.
This is a lot more efficient.
So if we were to summarize, we took an opportunity to expand your reach to a much larger audience who would be interested in hearing what the Friedman Group could bring to help them improve their sales and their sales efforts. But we did it in such a way by leveraging off your credibility, your reputation in the industry, and your thought leadership around the importance of culture. Gave them that information, gave them some things to think about, and as a result, not only did you get a large sale, but you also filled the pipeline, which is also a critical part of being able to get people to have a conversation with you. And ultimately, you're on your way to using webinars as a vehicle to create new demand generation for the Friedman Group. We couldn't be happier. We're delighted that we had the opportunity to do it. And I wish every success story could be as beautiful as this one. So Harry, I want to thank you again and the Friedman Group for your support and participation and collaborating with us. We had a ball. It was terrific, and we look forward to another opportunity to help you win another $2 million sale.
I am looking forward to it. Anytime, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.